So thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and get started, and a lot of y'all has answered your
What
question.
you want to say?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if y'all don't mind, before we get started, if you're not speaking, could you please put your screen, and that way everybody can hear you whenever. And when you're speaking, after you take yourself off mute, you'll pop up and everybody will see who's speaking. I'd first like to welcome y'all and thank y'all for taking out the time for this day to do this. And the purpose of this forum, first of all, my name is Mykesha Ross. I'm the Vice President of AADM. And you can find us at aadmmovement.org. And the purpose of this panel is to bring awareness and educate people on what you guys do about their district. And AADM first would like to say we do not endorse any candidates or political parties. We are a nonpartisan organization. Our goal is to advocate for racial and social justice and bring awareness through education and activism. So that's something that we want everyone to be aware of, that we're not endorsing anybody. We just want y'all to bring the education and awareness to our community so that they can know who you are and where they can find you all. And I would like to introduce Mr. John Olive, who is our treasurer.
Everyone, I will be co-moderating with Mykesha, and I'm the treasurer of AADM. Okay, I'll let Mykesha set the ground rules now.
Okay, so the ground rules basically, which we went over briefly, but we're going to announce the panel with the AM between 1 p.m. and 1:30 p.m. All participants, if you're not on the panel list, please make sure your mic is on mute. Once again, the panelists have 1 to 2 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes. And we'll hold up a finger if your time is winding down to give the respect to others, to ask any questions or any personal introductions. So during your introductions, you're going to make your introduction. After we do that, we'll ask you your questions. As Mr. John said, it's going to go by districts, starting with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, as well as the Board of Education. We're going to select, and we've already broken down the questions, and we're going to take input from the community. So with that being said, please hold all questions until the end. You can post comments in the feed. We will select 3 to 5 questions at the end to discuss. Panelists, wave your hand if you want to respond to a question so that we are aware that you're wanting to respond. And please don't interrupt. Be mindful of your time, and we will monitor the time to make sure panelists have that equal opportunity to participate in the discussions. The moderator will put up one finger, as I said, and just make sure you're watching the screen to wrap things. So we're going to go ahead and get things started, and I just ask everybody to be very respectful for each other. Once again, we appreciate your participation, and we're going to get started. Okay, so time is around 12:41, and we're going to start with District 4. And in District 4, I would like for the candidates to go ahead and introduce yourself. Is everyone on from District 4?
I'm here. I was waiting for the candidate to introduce himself.
Okay, so the candidate will introduce themselves first, and then the running candidate will introduce themselves second.
The candidate will need to unmute their microphone so we can hear you.
It says it's unmuted, but Michael, we can't hear you.
Okay, so we'll,
Did you do the computer audio for this
Michael
meeting?
Staper. Michael, you're still muted according. Okay, try it now, Michael.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So yeah, sorry about that. Thought everything was working. So my name is Michael Stopper. I'm a progressive Democrat running for District 4. I believe Athens right now is in a poverty crisis. And I believe there's been a disconnect with the current commission, with the citizens of Athens. So I just want to do what I can to help and fight for the citizens of my district, especially low-income individuals who are really suffering in Athens right now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Allison Wright, Commissioner Wright, current Commissioner for District 4, and I'm looking for your vote and support to continue the work that I'm doing with the other team of other commissioners and the mayor. I wanted to thank the Athens Anti-Discrimination movement for putting this together. I know it's been like herding cats to get this together, but I appreciate what you're doing and helping us communicate during these challenging times. I wanted to, you had said you wanted us to share some ways for people to get in touch with us, and I wanted to start off with some important website, which is accgov.com, where you can get the current information about the community and what's changing nearly every day right now. In reference to my campaign, it's Keep Right Athens is my website, and then my social media is Right for Athens. But I'm less of a social media person. I'm more of a face-to-face person. So I do miss our community interactions, and I want to make sure everybody has my phone number so that we can connect. And that's 706-549-3518. That's 706-549-3518. And I want to make sure that we keep our personal connectivity moving forward so we can continue the progress that we have been making. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Jesse Hall.
Hey, my name is Jesse Houle, and I'm running for commission in District 6. And a little bit about why I'm running is because Athens is my home. And for me, home is people. And I feel a really strong connection to the people who make up our community. And I believe in us, and I believe that we can do better. And so how do we do better, and what role does the commission play? I think we need to be asking questions that get to the root of our problems, which is, what does equity look like in Athens? How do we become a more just community? Who has access and who's left out? And I think we need commissioners who ask these questions and who hold center the people in our community who have the greatest need. I've been working hard alongside many folks here in Athens to tackle these questions for more than a decade, fighting to stop unjust laws and transform oppressive institutions, and also fighting to win victories for living wages, expanded public transit, measures against discrimination, and on and on. I have extensive experience in community organizing, helping progressives win office, co-founding Athens for Everyone, and being the operations manager at Nucci Space, etc. But we still have so much to do, and these are really weird and difficult times. This pandemic crisis is actually exacerbating the crises that have been normalized, from extreme poverty and wealth inequality to lack of affordable housing, low wages, poor working conditions. And given the failures of state and federal government, I think we're seeing the importance of local government in this crisis. And I'm excited to help us forge a path through this crisis to transform Athens in real ways so that our new normal is much better for everyone. And if people want to learn more about that, they can go to the website, which is jesseforathens.com, or shoot me an email at jesseforathens@gmail.com. And thank you so much.
thank you.
Good, Jesse. Jerry?
Good afternoon. My name is Jerry Neesmith, and I am running for re-election as Commissioner of Athens Clarke County's 6th District. The district is bordered to the east by Old Epps Bridge, between Tallahassee Road and West Broad Street. It stays between Tallahassee and Atlanta Highway till the loop, and then it crosses Atlanta Highway and goes to the Oconee County border. I'm running for my 3rd term because I love our town and I love public service as a county commissioner. The last few weeks have been particularly challenging for the mayor and commission, but we have come together, had productive discussions, and we're meeting those challenges every day. There's a lot more work to do, of course. I look forward to continuing collaboration with my commission colleagues as we continue to work to support our community and the new problems that the pandemic has brought to Athens Clarke County. This commission is diverse, which means that we are sharing perspectives and ideas that each commissioner brings to the table. The budgeting process that we are now engaged in is like no other and will continue to be dynamic and require the experience and hard work that all of our commissioners offer. Our citizens are very well represented by each and every one of the commissioners under the leadership of a very capable mayor. If you want to learn more about me, you can visit my website. It's jerryneesmith.com. I do a daily newsletter, which is focused on the pandemic. You can sign up for that newsletter at jerryneesmith.com/sign-up. I hope you will vote for me. I am very hardworking. I very much like collaborating with our commissioners and look forward to continuing the work in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And now if we go to Kamau Hall, I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
It's Kamayu.
Kamau. Okay.
Yes.
Well, welcome, Kamau.
So I am Kamayu Hall. I'm a candidate for commissioner in District 8. And I am an Athens native. I'm a husband, I'm a father, a local attorney, and I'm the only candidate in my race that actually knows this community. I grew up here, have a lot of friends, have worked in this community for quite some time and come from a long line of community servants. That being said, it is vitally important to me that everybody in this community have access to their local government, that we have allies from different parts of the community when we're talking about making decisions that relate to our entire community, and that we're also accountable to everybody in the community and not just a small subset of the constituency. That being said, I'm focused on the issues of unity, equity, and justice, and everyone can learn more about me at my website, www.kamayuhall.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Carol? Carol Myers, can you unmute? You need to unmute yourself, Carol.
Hi guys, I'm Carol Myers. I'm running for County Commissioner for District 8. And that goes basically from where the Kroger's is in College Station down to Lowe's and area around that area. I'm running for the commission because I care about the community a lot and I have the time, experience, and expertise to be an excellent commissioner. I've lived in the Athens area about 36 years and 25 on the east side. I spent my entire career at Athens Tech, where I was a teacher, taught thousands of students, and I was Dean of General Education when I retired a couple of years ago. My platform is pretty straightforward. One, I'm for a thriving East Side, both for its residents and for its businesses. Two, I'm for a just, equitable, sustainable, and safe Athens for the whole community. Three, I'm for a walkable, bikeable, busable Athens. Four, for a green Athens that follows through on its commitment to renewable energy in the coming decades. And I've added on a fifth point, and that is for a resilient Athens, because what we're going through right now with COVID, COVID is going to last for quite a while, and we will need to recover from this, both in our public health infrastructure and for our local economy as well. I just want to shout out to all the people who are watching. Thanks so much, and I hope everyone is doing okay in these crazy, surreal times. It's a challenge for us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now, Makisha, would you like to introduce the Board of Education candidates?
I'm in District 8 as well, running as a candidate.
Okay.
Forgot Andrea.
Shall we start with District 2?
No, it's
I'm in District 8 as well,
Okay.
running as a candidate.
Sorry. The other candidate in District 8. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Andrea.
That's okay.
My mistake. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Andrea.
My name's Andrea Farnham. Hold on, let me check this. My name is Andrea Farnham. I'm running in District 8 as a county commissioner candidate, and I think running for office is less about me and more about what Athens needs. In matters of governance, as a citizen and as a candidate, the first thing that we need to understand is what good governance is. So if you are picking your candidates, as a citizen, a responsible exercise of the office of citizen is picking candidates who understand what thinking about all of Athens as a whole community means. Not just special interests, not just the particular things that I like and care about, but the things that everyone cares about. Enabling freedom for the whole community. And me as a candidate, I understand what good governance is. What it means to, in matters of governance, think about Athens as a whole. The people I like, the people I don't like, the people who agree with me, the people who disagree with me. But if I am in charge of, not in charge, but if I am in a position where I'm making decisions about Athens, I'm responsible for thinking about the whole polity. People who own a lot of stuff, people who don't own a lot of stuff, people who have wealth, people who don't have wealth, people who, and that our entire community is riddled with massive inequality. And what COVID-19 in this current moment is revealing to us is some of the underbelly of what that looks like. And we desperately, desperately need leadership right now by people who understand what it means to think about the whole polity, what it means to make decisions that enable freedom for everyone, not just for a select few. And that the whole point of governance is to secure institutions that enable freedom for all of Athens. And so I will, as a county commissioner, make decisions with the whole polity in mind. I understand what freedom is and how important everything that we do as a community in matters of governance has as a central feature enabling freedom for everybody, not just enabling freedom for the landowners, for the developers, for people that have wealth, but enabling freedom for everybody and securing institutions that do that. Right now, when we're all stuck at home, kind of reflecting on where we are, it gives us a lot of time to think about who we are as a community and who we want to be. I look forward to helping secure freedom for everybody in Athens, not just the few.
Thank you, Andrea. And now we go to District 10, where we have Mike Hamby and Noah Johnson. So Mike, let's start with you, okay?
Let me mute myself here. Thank you very much, John and Markeisha, for doing this, and for everyone who helped organize this. Now, my name is Mike Hamby. I'm currently District 10 Commissioner. I do hope I've been a commissioner that looks for results and looks for ways for the government to be a catalyst in helping people in our community and helping neighborhoods in our community. And you know, these have been challenging times. I think we're going to get through it, and I recognize that you know, elections are about the future, and today's discussion will help us decide how we're moving in the future. So, like I said, my name is Mike Hamby. I'm running for District 10 Commissioner to make sure Athens grows stronger by having an economy that works for everyone with a skilled community, to improve the health of our residents, neighborhoods, and environment by having a livable community, and to ensure that equity and justice are afforded to everyone with a fair community, and to build relationships so that lives can be improved with an engaged community. And so a skilled community, a livable community, a fair community, and engaged community are things that I look forward to talking about and presenting as this campaign moves forward, and as the voters decide how they want this community to move forward. And I'll go ahead and give my website, since a lot of people have done that, is at hambyathens10.com. So take a look at it, and there's a lot of specifics about what these mean. So I look forward to this discussion, and I look forward to earning the votes of the folks in District 10. Thank you, John. Thank you, Markeisha.
Noah? Can you unmute, Noah?
Hello, you can hear me? Do you have me?
I hear you.
Okay, my name is Noah Johnson. I'm running for District 10 Commissioner. I was born and raised in Orlando, Florida, projects. I'm a husband, a father to 8 kids, 5 girls, 3 boys. I've served in the United States Navy. I worked for the Center for Drug-Free Living with serious habitual offenders from age 13 to 18 years old. I moved to Georgia 10 years ago. In 8 of those years, we've basically lived here in Athens, a city that I've grown to love. Since moving here, my wife and I founded the Athens Hip Hop Awards, which we just reached 8 years of that. We co-founded the Athens Anti-Discrimination movement, which I served as the vice president for 2.5 years. And that's an organization that basically leads awareness in the community locally with, you know, the school to prison pipeline, bringing awareness to it, letting people know that it exists, going into the schools, trying to put programs in place, talking to school officers and different people like that to make sure that they understand that, you know, this is a bad situation and to do something to offset it. Also, we've collaborated with several different people in town to get ordinance passed that has helped to make Athens a better place. Also founded the Athens MLK Day Parade and Festival, which we just had its 4th year this January. And for the sake of time, I'm gonna keep moving forward. My platform is basically, I believe in a more participatory government. I believe there's a lot of people being left out of the process in Athens. And I feel like it's time, the things that we're trying to address to be a progressive city, criminal justice reform, all these things, we need the people who are being affected the most by these things to be at the table. Also affordable housing for low, moderate individuals and families. I moved here in Athens, the first apartment I had was $765 8 years ago. Now that same apartment is $1,050-some. We have to address these issues. People who are working hard in the service communities basically having to leave outside of Athens because they don't have anywhere to live that they can afford. I also believe in safe neighborhoods, family activities, extended bus travel to make sure that the people in marginalized communities aren't get left out in economic and cultural growth through home ownership.
Thank you.
Okay, Markeisha, do you want to start with the District 2 Board of Education?
Yes, for Board of Education, I would like District 2, Karina Gallagher. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karina Gallagher. I'm running for school board in District 2, and you can find more information on my website at karinaforchange.com. I'm running for school board in District 2 because I think District 2 needs some stability in regards to representation on the school board. I'm running for school board because I don't want to see people give up on our school district. I'm running to represent parents, teachers, and students who don't feel like they have a voice. And I'm also running because as a parent and current volunteer in the school system for many years, I think I bring a unique perspective to the school district that encourages collaboration and compassion. So I'm looking forward to doing that and having folks go out and vote. I really want to encourage people to look into absentee voting and really taking advantage of that. So, yeah.
Thank you. Miss Mary Bagby.
Good day. My name is Mary P. Bagby. I live in District 2. I have been a part of the school system for over 40 years in Athens Clarke County. There's a fix that needs to be taken care of in Athens, not a fit. We should not try to fit in, but we should try to fix and solve problems and the issues that are prevalent in our community. And I would like to be on the Board of Education for District 2, bridge the gap between the parents and the schools, the parents and the teachers. The parents need to feel that their voices can be heard. They should not be intimidated when they go to different meetings. They should have clarity and a voice. I believe that the Board of Education should have code of conduct and ethics, as we have the children to have a code of conduct. The parents have a code of conduct. The children needs to be educated. They need to be able to go from Gaines Elementary School to Hillsman, reading on a 6th grade level, not going on a 2nd and a 3rd and a 4th grade level. I have solutions that is going to help our children come to a place where we can say they are being made whole. And I would like the vote of the people, because I have served in this community for over 40 years. I am aware of the policies and procedures that needs to be practiced that have not always been practiced. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. John, unmute your.
Yes. Okay. So now we're going to go to a basic question that I'm going to ask each of the candidates in each of the districts. Is that okay, Nikesha?
We have Nicole Hull.
Oh my gosh. Have I missed? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm glad you're on the ball. That's right. We have Commissioner, the Board of Education for Districts 4 and 6 who are running unopposed. Please introduce yourself. My mistake. Go ahead. Nicole.
Hi, I am Nicole Hull. I am unopposed. I'm running for the Board of Education for District 8. My husband and I, we have a law practice here, but we also have 3 children who are in public school. So next year we have the benefit of a high schooler, a middle schooler, and one in elementary school, but very invested in education. My platform is wanting to make sure that we have equity in education, regardless of race, socioeconomic status, ability, religion, orientation, and gender. So I want to make sure that we're putting policies forward and connecting different segments of the community to make sure that we are giving our children the best education, but also empowering everyone that is in the school district. That's including our teachers, our parents, our students, our administrators, and even our community members, so that we are using our resources effectively so that we can better our children. I'm very interested in this position because I get to see a lot of different ways that the policies that we put in place in our school and in our county affect our students. My specialty areas in law practice include dealing with children of child and abuse neglect cases, also juvenile delinquency cases, education and special education issues. So I get to see what happens when something's not right at home and how that affects our students, or how school district policy can carry forward and affect our children outside of school. So I'm really interested in working with the Board of Education and working with different segments of our community to make sure that we can give our children the best that they can have, because they are entitled to that. I don't have a website, but if you want to learn more about me or keep up with what's going on, I do have a Facebook page. It's Nicole Hull for Clarke County Board of Education, District 8, and I look forward to serving with the rest of the board and working with our government. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we
last. Am I last?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Mumbi Anderson, better known on Facebook as Mumbi Okundaye, and I'm running for the district seat, Board of Education position, and I'm running unopposed, so, you know, whatever I say right now probably won't have a huge effect on the outcome of my particular race, but I do think that it's important for the constituents in my district to understand why exactly I want to represent them on this seat. A little bit about me. I grew up here in Athens, Clarke County. I am a product of Cedar Shoals High School, go Jags. I grew up on the east side. I've lived in central downtown. My son went to Chase Street Elementary. and now we live on the far west side. So I know a lot of parts of Athens, and I think I have a familiarity with Athens as both a student and a parent that I can bring to the table to address some of the issues of inequity that we have been discussing in a lot of detail on the press and in our community. I have a data management background as well, a public health background, and an educational administration background. So one of the qualities about being a confused person in your 20s and 30s is you get to wear a lot of hats before you figure out what you really want to do with your life. And having that experience, I think, will also enrich in what I can bring to the Board of Education. The reason why I really want to serve on this board is because I do think that the issues of educational inequity that we've been discussing in Clarke County for so many years really have to do with not serving our kids in the most meaningful way with regards to addressing systemic issues of inequity across the board when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to access to employment, when it comes to higher education and who gets to go to college and who doesn't, when it comes to dealing with a lot of the issues overall that impact what happens in our educational system for our children. So I think that I can bring a really interesting perspective of understanding data and how that translates to policy and understanding good policy and bad policy and moving us forward to a more equitable school district. And that's all I got.
Thank you so much, Mommy. All right, so we're going to start with the questions and answers. And I would like to say again, if you are not speaking, to put your phone on mute, as well as when I hold my finger up, that means it's been a minute. With the questions and answers, you have 2 minutes. So when I hold the finger up, meaning 1 minute, and then I hold the number 2 up, so you'll know your time. So just kind of watch and be respectful of the time. Thank you. So we're going to start with commissioners, the candidates first in District 4. And Mr. John is going to start.
Yes, I had basically a basic question for all of the candidates in each commission district. If elected, you will be serving as commissioner for your district for the next 4 years. What do you see as the major priorities that you would lobby for on behalf of your district during the next 4 years? And we're starting with District 4. Let's go to Michael. Do you want to? Do I have it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So my biggest priority going in would be just the poverty issue that is facing Athens. And it is a very complex issue that needs to be addressed in multiple ways, not just one. We need to address it in affordable housing provisions for low-income workers. I would like to institute fare free public transportation for all of Athens citizens, making sure all communities are able to get easy access to essential services such as groceries, job training, things of that nature. I'd also like to see a big part of my district is UGA, and UGA needs to give back to needs to give back more to the community. They are the biggest employer within the county, and anytime there's a chance for them to give back, a lot of times they hesitate or do not give back as much as they should. So that is a very big issue, but it all revolves around the poverty issue. Like I said, affordable housing. I'd also like to introduce a tenant's bill of rights to prevent further rent hikes and ensure the rights of all the renters within Athens. I just know from my personal experience having to look for an apartment just 3 years ago and looking now, I've seen an average of $300-400 increase for many places to rent in Athens, especially within my district. So that is a big issue for me. But yeah, overall, poverty will be the biggest priority, and I will look to tackle it from all sides.
Thank you.
Allison?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, this is Commissioner Wright, and just to clarify the question, you said you wanted us to highlight one topic?
Yes, your major
over all the topics.
priority
Okay.
for your
Okay.
district.
Health and safety is the biggest category that is always a priority for me. As we know now, most public safety issues are not just district level, they are community level. I've already been working really hard for the last 2 terms on pedestrian improvements and pedestrian safety, everything from crosswalks and crossing guards in the 5 Points intersection for the students coming and going to elementary school. But under public safety is also personal well-being, and personal well-being is tied into affordable housing. And I think that is the biggest category that we will continually work on and finish what we've started. We have a huge project in the North Athens redevelopment project that we've started, and that continued work needs to be done so that we can not only have affordable housing, but quality affordable housing. I have 3 neighborhoods in my district, Townview, Clark Gardens, and Parkview Homes. All of those need to be addressed and to be brought up to the high standards of some of the neighborhoods of affordable living that we're tackling with the transformation that's happening at Bethel. But those are 3 small units in my district. I was talking about a project that we have approved, and that's going to increase affordable housing, and it's aimed towards being affordable for entry-level workers at the University of Georgia. And the other thing that I think we need to tackle is the very outdated ordinance that we have, that you can't have more than 2 unrelated individuals living in a single family residence. Legislative Review Committee that I chair has just received the assignment from Mayor Gertz to tackle loud and rowdy houses and behaviors that are in our single family residence. And when we nail down that ordinance, then we can address what's the real problem in our neighborhoods, which is noise and unneighborly conduct, versus eliminating the ability for a group of people to be in a residential neighborhood and afford it, because the rents are high, and it does take 4 and sometimes 5. My son it takes 5 people to pay the rent where they are, but it's in a multifamily unit. So those are the things that I was trying to capture right in the middle of our show. And I think I'll just end it right there.
Well, thank you so much. And we do apologize for that. Now y'all see it's a lot of people that's being bored and want to disrupt positive outcomes of things. So we apologize for that. So we can take a big inhale and exhale and refresh ourselves and stay on our agenda. Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, running commissioner. So we're going to move to District 6, and the question, Mr. John, you can go ahead and ask that question to District 6.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, that was an example of where we need security in our cyber life. A lot better security, especially as we're all using Zoom now. Anyway, so the question was, you'll be serving, if elected, as commissioner for the next 4 years. What do you see as the major priorities that you would lobby for on behalf of your district during the next 4 years? Okay, and so we'll, with District 6, we'll start with Jesse.
Okay, thanks, John. Yeah, so in terms of what we do for our district, much of District 6 is outside the loop. And so there's a section on my platform that talks about looping in District 6. And part of that is getting solid waste services extended to the entire county, as well as having a public transit system that adequately services the whole county. As we see the cost of housing go up and drive people further out of town, we need to give folks who are lower income access to the same services that people in town have. I also think it speaks to the importance of bringing government out of City Hall and into our community and really organizing on the neighborhood level. And that's where the transparency and outreach parts of my platform come in, things like having regular town halls in our district and around the community. But overarchingly, I think we really need to rethink how government works. You know, those of us on the commission, 95% of what we're going to do is work for all of Athens. And so when we ask questions like, how do we become a more just community, and who has access and who's left out, you know, I think Michael hit one nail on the head with the poverty topic that comes up a lot. We have this insanely high poverty rate of 38% in our Athens Clarke County that I'm frankly sick of hearing people talk about, especially when we don't talk about the wealth inequality rate. We have the 12th worst wealth inequality rate of any county in the entire nation. And so this is not a poor community, it's just that we need to share the wealth. And I'm really glad to hear like Allison and other commissioners have come around on some things more recently, such as the single family ordinance. But I've been working with people for more than a decade, fighting for these things all along. You know, I've been speaking out against the single family ordinance for more than a decade. And we've been fighting for economic and racial justice for more than a decade. And so to get to your last part of your question, John, which is the top priority, you know, I think the entire platform is inextricably interlinked, but what we choose to list first is economic and racial justice, because there's also this conversation happening more and more about racism and discrimination. But too often when we're talking about that, we're not talking about the economic policies that need to underlie that discussion and really put action and money where our mouth is. And then when we're talking about economic policies, things like living wages, better working conditions, we need to be having an honest conversation about race while we do that, so that we're talking about the realities of systemic racism, the legacy of slavery and discrimination, and how that plays into the heavily racialized inequality that we have today. I don't want to take up too much time because there's so many of us, but again, people can learn a whole lot more on the platform, which is at jessefораthens.com. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Jerry? Yeah.
John, do we need to go back into District 4 and get the other commissioner, the candidate? That seems like what you did this time.
Did I miss? Who did I miss? Oh, did I miss Allison?
No, you got Allison, but.
No, Michael went first, Jerry.
Michael went first.
Michael went first, Jerry.
Okay, my apologies.
We're good.
All right.
We're good. That shows confusion.
Yeah, it erased everything.
Right.
Okay, so I'm Jerry Neesmith, and right now, health and safety is right on the top of all the commissioners' mind, and soon I hope we'll be worried about the post-pandemic transition, where we're trying to get businesses back open safely and people back to work. But in my district in particular, in terms of transportation, I agree we need expanded bus service. We have a school here that doesn't have a bus. The school bus, there's no way to get to that school except by automobile or school bus. We need bus service going to Caterpillar. We really need a bus hub, perhaps at the Georgia Square Mall, that serves this district better. We need sidewalks. We have virtually no sidewalks in District 6. In particular, we need a sidewalk on Mitchell Bridge Road, which could connect to the Timothy Road sidewalk and connect our trails that way, especially the new trail coming down Tallahassee Road that's in the works now from the Tallahassee Forest Nature Preserve to Atlanta Highway. I've been working hard and will continue to work on encouraging business redevelopment, which is going to be even more important in the post-pandemic era. And we do that by encouraging businesses to redevelop, by getting some of the obstacles in land planning and stormwater management to something reasonable in redevelopment arena. I'm also in favor of a much stronger set of anti-discrimination laws for the county. We have one now, and really all it affects is bars. And we need to take that several steps further. Georgia has no anti-discrimination laws whatsoever. It's all federal. So we need to fix that. I'm campaigning for and campaigning in the commission and with the mayor for changes in our procurement policies so that local businesses have favoritism in our procurement. In particular, with SPLOST, spending $1/3 of $1 billion on SPLOST over the next 11 years, we need to keep that money in our town and give our employers a leg up in supporting their business and supporting their staff, their workers. Affordable housing, I'm very proud of what we're doing on the north side of downtown with the Bethel Homes redevelopment. We're talking now about creating a youth corps, expanding our youth corps policy so that we can put kids to work doing some of the work that is done by our employees and by inmates now, and paying them a good wage and teaching them skills. I'm on the board of the Advantage Behavioral Health Services, which is our safety net for mental disabilities, behavioral disabilities, and disabilities that prevent people from working, for substance abuse, substance addiction, and enjoy that work very much. It's I was able to add a second.
Can you wrap up?
I'm about to.
Okay.
I was able to get a second crisis intervention team on the police force, which is a specially trained officer and an Advantage employee. And I'm also working and have been working on land use policies that will encourage redevelopment and also expand our housing by, for example, allowing what we call granny houses and tiny homes so that we can have some more affordable housing for the people who need it. Thank you.
Okay. To make sure I don't forget it this time, we're going to start with Andrea Farnham for District 8. Andrea, do you need to be reminded of the question?
Oh, I think I got it.
Okay.
Everything. I am a sex and relationship therapist. So I have the privilege of getting to hear what people's problems are in a really sort of private, intimate way. And I understand the connection between our mental health kind of crisis and freedom and meaning, okay? That nobody can be free without money. That if I don't have enough money, if I don't have a job that secures me some kind of economic stability, I'm not free to do anything because we live in a capitalist country and everything costs money. Okay, so part of my job as a commissioner is to make sure that center jobs and economics in the lives of every Athenian. That if you cannot secure economics for yourself and your family, then it's my job to help facilitate that. And I loved what Commissioner Naismith was talking about in terms of centering the procurement process and making sure contracts are going to Athenians, making sure jobs are being secured for people that live here. That if you live here, we are going to take care of you and make sure that you can have a good job and provide for yourself and your family, because nobody is free if they don't have a good job. And the second part of that is after I secure you money, you need meaningful things to do with your money. It's not enough to just have money because right now we have two Athens, Athens that has money and Athens that does not have money. And on both levels, that is a very stressful place to be. It's stressful on the bottom because you don't have enough money to do things, and being poor is very stressful. And it's stressful on the top because even if you have money, if you don't know how to turn that money into meaning, you are just as stressed. It's just a different kind of stress. And we see that in the high substance abuse rates, high depression, high anxiety, the suicide rates in Athens. The people that live in Athens, it's a much more stressful place to live than it needs to be for the people on the top for one reason and for the people on the bottom for a different reason. And so centering, how do we fix that gap and get rid of a bottom so there's no bottom to fall into, so the people at the top aren't stressed about falling into the bottom, and the people at the bottom aren't, there's no bottom for them to be on. So part of the central feature of my platform is to extend economic and political power to everybody, because everything is about freedom and meaning, how to secure the enabling conditions for you as an Athenian to be free, and to secure you meaningful things to do with your freedom, because freedom is about the ability to make plans and enact plans. And if you don't have money to be able to enact those plans, you're not free. And if you don't have meaningful plans to enact, you're also not free. So part of our job as a government is to secure for you as an Athenian institutions that enable your freedom and ways in which you can secure your own say in the things that you want in Athens. And As a therapist, everything is about meaning and how we help you have a more meaningful life as a citizen in Athens. And it's my job to secure that for you.
Thank you, Andre. We'll now go over to Mr. Kamal, Mr. Hall. Are you there still?
Unmute you, Mr. Maya.
Yeah. Can you unmute yourself? Click on the microphone in the bottom left corner so you can unmute yourself. No.
I am unmuted. He's coming out. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, now we can. Yeah.
The joys of having another candidate in the household. So the number one priority, I think, for District 8 is equity. Had the opportunity to speak with a group of young students, and the foremost issue that they identified with the East Side was an equity issue. They said, Mr. Hull, you know, we live here on the East Side, we've grown up here, but if we really want to do anything, we have to go to the West Side. There's nothing for us to do here. There are no jobs for our parents to work here. Everything runs through the West Side. That identified, I think, an equity issue for the East Side as a whole, but in particular, my district. I think to fix that and as a solution for that, we need to focus on equity for the East Side and equity for District 8, both in terms of looking at the county budget. We split $200 million here in this city every year. We need to look at how we can focus some of that on the East Side and on the Lexington Road corridor. We need to focus on our infrastructure. There have been recent proposals to bring a library to the East Side and fund it by SPLOST money, which is good, that's great, but we need to make sure that that actually comes to fruition. We've had SPLOST projects before on the East Side that have failed and just never been built. So we need to actually make sure that those types of things actually come to fruition on our side of town. We need to figure out how to better use the economic ability of the airport and in particular, see if we can get more access to it from the Lexington Road side instead of having it sort of isolated on the other side of another district. We also need help in terms of improving our roads, improving our sidewalks. A lot of our roads are as bad as they've ever been during my lifetime here. Me and my children have started to play a game where we count the potholes going down Cedar Shoals Drive. That shouldn't be an issue. Our sidewalks are incomplete, so making sure that we prioritize and we focus on those things that everybody uses are paramount to what we should be doing on the East Side. There's absolutely no reason that Lexington Road, which is one of the 4 or 5 major corridors that you use to get into Athens, can't look like all the rest. It can look like Atlanta Highway, it can look like Epps Bridge, it can look like 29. We just need to focus on developing those things and building the social infrastructure and the equity within what we're looking at to make sure we accomplish those things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Carol?
Hi. First, I want to say that part of my platform is a push for a just, equitable, and fair Athens. So many of the issues that other people have brought up that deal with poverty and racism in the community, and those will be a priority for me, very much so. But in terms of the East Side and some other priorities, I do want to mention my push and what I've been talking to a lot of residents over here is helping the East Side thrive. Kamayu is right. We have an East Side library coming through SPLOST. I served on 2 SPLOST committees, and I understand the process. We have an important thing coming up this summer. The mayor and commissioners will be prioritizing those projects, and I want to make sure that East Side Library is at the front of those projects because it could really serve as a community center for the East Side. Kamau, you also mentioned the Lexington corridor, and yes, indeed, there's actually T-SPLOS money right now that's being looked at for building and developing that Lexington corridor to make it more accepting and welcoming. There's a lot of people on the east side who are very loyal to the east side and want to see our businesses thrive. And I think right now, especially with what we're going on now with the COVID-19, we all are aware of the role and the vitality that small businesses bring to us. But in addition, I have another priority that no one has mentioned, and that has to do with Athens and sustainability. One, I will want to work to make sure that our sidewalk and bike plan gets moved ahead and be a voice on the commission to remind the community of our commitment to alternative transportation, including buses as well. In addition, I want to remind the community and the commissioners and really push for our renewable energy transition. We have $16 million in SPLOST, and that money can be used in all sorts of ways. It can be used for our new library, our new judicial center, but it can also be used to meet one of the big goals, major goals of the 100% resolution, and that is to do the transition to renewable energy in a just and equitable way that addresses historical inequities. So I know that I was at the town hall meeting for the North Athens development back in January, seems like another age, when we could all get together in public, and there was talk about making sure the affordable housing has as well insulated structures and homes as possible and uses renewable energy, and therefore reduces the energy burden to the people for whom it is the greatest. In addition, I want to see that we have green jobs here in Athens, and we think of ways to train people. And I was really just thinking about the one part of the resiliency package the mayor and commissions were talking about, and that's a job of Athens Job Corps, and how wonderful it would be to get people involved in that kind of work on really adding insulation and other energy saving layers to houses and helping people at all different levels in this community. The bike and pedestrian issue is also something that involves equity. There are criteria there that, am I getting a time from one person but not from you? Okay, so I was looking for my finger from John, for the 1 minute from John. But anyway, that'll be, there's a priority option in the sidewalk and bike plan as well that has to do with equity. So those are going to be my priorities. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Now we go to District 10. We'll start with Noah this time. Go ahead, Noah.
Okay, once again, I'm Noah Johnson. I'm running for Commissioner for District 10. First of all, I'm not the candidate that's going to come in and tell you guys what you need for your district. You know, the first thing I want to do is set up several meet and greets within the district, several platforms, so that the people in the district can communicate with me, the whole district, and let me know exactly what they want. I know right now we're very interested in safer neighborhoods. You know, all the district wants to have access to this, and a lot of people in the district feel like they're not being serviced. There's a certain part of the district that's being serviced, and they want to be included in this. All residents deserve convenient walking places for outdoor recreation. We want to balance the neighborhood protection with development. Traffic safety along Elsbridge Parkway is very important. There's been a study that was conducted a few years ago, and the residents in that area really wants to see this move forward, and I'm with them on this. There are a lot of recommendations in there that I agree with, and I'm going to work to make sure those things happen. But also, they want to see an art-based entrance when you're coming into Clarke County, and I've always agreed with this also. I thought downtown would be a good place, but this is even better. When you're coming into Clarke County from Oconee Line, where Walmart is, we want to see some type of art-based entrance or monument or something that stands for the town. You know, we have a Confederate monument downtown. We need something that represents art, and this town being a blue dot in a red state. Also, because I'm for a participatory government, that's one of the reasons I want to go out and talk to people. There's a part in the charter that says the government's supposed to go out far and beyond and encourage involvement in operations from all citizens, and particularly citizens from minority communities and disadvantaged communities. I want to make sure that that is something that we do. You know, I bring a marketer's eye to the table. If I make it as commissioner, or when I make it as commissioner, I'm going to bring a marketer's eye to the table and make sure we're doing everything to get information out to these communities that need information. I feel like the COVID-19 response, it was a very good response in the decision to shut the city down, but I feel like more could have been done for its awareness and getting the message out to the different communities that are here. I want to say I have a track record of being diplomatic, identifying voids, and being willing to collaborate with others. So if you're looking for a new energy and someone to continue the work that you've already done, plus bring more ideas to the table, Noah Johnson is your man.
Thank you, Noah. Let's wrap up the commission districts with Mike Hamby.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Makisha. So some of the things that are important to District 10, and I have been working on, would be a pedestrian loop. Commissioner Smith referred to this earlier, and it's a loop that would basically use the Atlanta Highway T-SPLOST money, $4 million, that would build a sidewalk network from basically Macon Highway all the way down Timothy, finish out the network there, down Mitchell Bridge Road, all the way to Tallahassee and Oglethorpe. And if we did that, y'all, that would build a connection, a loop basically from all the way around Athens. And that way you are connecting neighborhoods, you are connecting people, and you are building that connectivity that's so important, not only to my district, but other districts as well. In my district also, the neighborhood protection is a big issue. We've had several rezoning requests come up before on the corner of Timothy Road and Ebbs Bridge. And I've said all along, you know, if a development can demonstrate how they would benefit the neighborhoods and the surrounding neighborhoods around there, then that would be a good thing. But if they're going to impact the neighborhoods in a negative way, or try to cut through their neighborhood with a street, or add traffic, or add congestion to the area, then that's not a good thing. So anytime a developer comes to the area, they know that neighborhoods around there will work together to make sure that what comes before the Mayor Commission is going to be a good project. And if it's not, then they'll have to do something else. So out of all of these redevelopments came the Epps Bridge Corridor Study. And the Epps Bridge Corridor Study does call for a park on the west side. The District 6 Commissioner may want to arm wrestle me on this, but there is a perfect location at the Timothy and Epps Bridge corridor that would add this amenity to folks along this corridor. And I will say this too, neighborhood engagement. You know, we do have Timothy Ford that's working on increasing the neighborhood engagement and increasing neighborhood participation. I've been to so many neighborhood meetings and neighborhood association meetings over my time as commissioner. And they're so important to go to because you do learn a lot about them. And one of the things, you know, that comes up is just as an example, just a couple of months ago, before the whole virus thing hit, there's a rezoning request coming up around the area of Woodlake. And I went through Woodlake, put out 200 flyers on doors, just so that people are aware of a meeting that's going on, or aware of this rezoning that may impact their neighborhood, and to figure out what is best there. So within the District 2, we also get a lot of stormwater issues. I'd love to be able to figure out a way to where we can help people who have these stormwater issues do some work on their property. And that's been an issue, because we typically work with stormwater issues that are caused from the street, but now we're looking at ways where we can offer some assistance on individual properties as well. So there is a lot going on. There's a lot more that we're working on and moving forward on with neighborhood protection, with connectivity, with neighborhood engagement, and those issues that are impactful to District 10. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Makisha, do you want to start with a question for the school board members in District 2?
Yes.
School board.
So I would like to go ahead and start with the Board of Education in District 2. And with that being said, We'll start with Miss Mary this time. And the question is really from people in our audience, public input. There is a wage across the school district, from teachers to food service workers to sanitation. What will you do to help school districts treat workers at their levels better? So how will you help the food service, the sanitation, the teachers, and the school workers become better?
The purpose for the person that represents District 2 on the Board of Education is to follow proper protocols of the policies and procedures that have been put in place for that person to operate. The legislature dictates and mandate a certain way to handle things. My top priority is the children, because that's where we are having problems. The educators, the teachers, the food service people, they get what they need. They have a voice. They have a voice. The children and the parents in District 2 does not seem to have a voice. I'm speaking as a parent, grandparent, and great-grandparent that lives in East Athens in District 2. So what am I going to do? I'm going to follow procedures and policies that's mandated by the that have given us our mandate to make sure that everyone is treated fairly and properly in the school district that I represent. I represent District 2 and the children. My concern is the children need educated parents, need not to be suffering from intimidation and feel like they have a voice and they can come. My name is Mary P. My address is 1442 East Broad Street, Athens, Georgia, 3060. My phone number is 7352-244. My email is marypbagby12@gmail.com. And we are still struggling, as Dr. King was assassinated 52 years ago on this date. His name has not died. It has not been diminished because he was a man of honor. And when you try to kill a dreamer, the dream continues. We need to continue to carry the torch for Dr. Means as well as Dr. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Ms. Karina Gallagher. Thanks.
Okay, so I have talked with many bus drivers and custodians, our support staff in the district, and not only do they need to have their voice heard, but they also need pay, which is very important. I would really, as a school board member, I would really like to look at just the number. I think as a district, we've become extremely top heavy. And we've forgotten the people that do the really hard work, these essential workers that we're calling them nowadays. So figuring out a way to assess how we are spending money in the district so that we can distribute the funds to support those who are our essential workers, and making sure that we are providing platforms for them to share their voice so that, one, they can be as effective as they need to be for in their positions, but also so that they can afford to live and work in our district.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go to Board of Education next district, and that will be Nicole Hall.
Hi, Nicole. Before you begin, I thought we have you down as representing District 4 in the Board of Education, but I thought you said District 8.
It is District 8. So I think
Okay.
Dr. Anderson is actually a district ahead of me, but I'm happy to jump in or wait my turn. You just let me know.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, so Karina did hit on a big issue in regards of wage. You know, I think it's important that as we move forward and try to develop this post-epidemic Athens, that we look at what are we providing? Are we providing living wages for our workers, and not just, you know, wages in terms of financial gain, but our bus drivers need to be able to safely transport our children, but their childcare, access to childcare was taken away. So we need to look at issues like that. How do we partner with childcare providers in the community to provide that essential service so that our bus drivers can actually do their jobs with the duty and the care that they signed up in those positions for? I think we need to empower our teachers to be able to actually teach in a classroom and use our behavior specialists to help them come and manage classroom behavior instead of using our education or our behavior specialists like bouncers to bounce kids who are disrupting class and place them out of the classroom and onto the prison to school pipeline. So we need to look at how we can empower our teachers, our educators, our sanitation providers, everyone. You know, it's important that as we look at our essential workers and we talk about our cafeteria workers, that we make sure that they're not just providing food for our children in the school system, but they're able to feed their own children at home. That's important so that they can show up and do their job with dignity and give our children a total education, not just one that stems from academics. So I think that just empowering the different players in our school system to look at wages, to look at how we can make a better use of our resources to provide everyone, students, teachers, educators, everyone in the platform, an opportunity to be their best and do their best. So that's what I would want to focus on, looking at policies that helped to make sure that we were providing empowerment and equity across the board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And now with the last one, I believe, anyway, if I've not missed anybody, Miss Anderson.
Yes. So I would actually mirror what Karina and Nicole were saying. I don't know if I could add a whole lot to it, but I would look at empowering the staff at the district level to have a voice, not only with the board, but to have a voice across the district as just important personnel as the superintendent, the principals, and the teachers. So all staff need to feel that they have a voice and they're just as important as the person next to them. But the really important aspect is equipping people with the resources that they need to do their job effectively. And when you look at Clarke County School District and the budget that is allotted to the district, I don't think that we have a budget that we can't work with. We have a robust budget. We just really need to look at how that money is being spent and make sure that that money is equitably spent, not only on our students, but also across our staff. The other aspect is that our teachers, our custodians, our bus drivers, the people that work in the cafeteria, they're all members of Clarke County School District. So when you talk about inequities in the district with regards to their employment, it mirrors the inequities that they are experiencing in the community in general. So just as the other two candidates mentioned, you have to look at income inequality, you have to look at wages, you have to look at the standards with which they're living so that when they come to work every day, they feel like they're proud members of the Clarke County District as well. So we really do need to have a holistic approach, not only at looking at the budget and making sure that these people are getting the livable wage that they need in order to feel like they're proud members of the district, but that they're taking that back into the school system and that they have the resources that they need within the system to do their job effectively.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've run over time, but I would like to, I've been reviewing the chat session, and there have been some comments, which I think you can all see in terms of specific responses. I was looking to see if there was a different kind of question that had been asked. Makisha, do you have a question from the audience that we could end with, or do you think we've really wrapped everything up?
Yeah, we wrapped everything up, but the main focus from a lot of them have asked was, what are we going to do as in the commissioners that's in seat right now? What are we going to do about the people who've lost their jobs, not just small businesses, but the people that's lost their jobs, as in myself, I help a lot of the homelessness, and I actually have to go out in the community and distribute food every day to this motel over here who has so many kids. The school lunch is not just doing the job. So the main focus is what the parents don't have jobs. The kids are just really pitiful. How are we going to help as a community after this COVID-19 to get these workers back into work? Could you explain that to the people? That question came for District 10. Mike Handy.
And could you, very briefly, as we are really running way over time. Okay, Mike.
Did you hear the question, Mr. Mike?
Sure, thank you, John. Yeah, there's actually things that I hope we can do. You know, certainly we've got a lot of nonprofits in town that we can partner with to make sure that needs are being met. We've also got, you know, I'm on the Downtown Development Authority. One of the things the Downtown Development Authority has been doing for these past 2 weeks is if you're in the Downtown Development District, businesses in that district are able to get a $1,000 grant to help them make it through. That's at the end of the day, that's not a lot of money, but it does help. It does help get them through. And a lot of folks within the authority have said it has helped them. I'm hoping that we can do the same on the Economic Development Authority that I'm on. We are currently looking at a grant for local small businesses here in Athens on that authority. So maybe we can also partner with the Northeast Georgia Business Alliance to make that happen. We are currently reviewing a resiliency package on the mayor and commission that includes $1 million towards small business support and also $500,000 for nonprofit support and some other things such as that. So there are things that we're looking at that we're very mindful of not only the health and safety impact that this virus has created for our community, but also the economic impact and the hardship that it's causing on people's lives. We will also be looking at CDBG money to see if there's anything within CDBG money that could help with rent assistance. That's still on the top of our mind is what we can do with that effort. I know a lot of people are struggling to pay rent and struggling to pay their bills. So what can we do to help with that direct support there? So it's a good question. It's a question that we're developing and researching, but certainly it's on the forefront, on the front burner of everybody on the commission and the mayor. The mayor's doing a great job of helping address these questions as well. So thanks, Makisha. Hope that helps.
Very quickly, would any of the other commission candidates like to make a very quick comment that would add to what Mike has said?
Just quickly.
Okay.
Do we know anything about the unemployment rate? I know that nationally it's been a pretty stunning situation in terms of about 10 million people unemployed in the last 2 weeks. Do we know anything about the Athens unemployment rate and what we're looking at in terms of workers?
And anyone want to respond to that? Allison, you had your hand raised? Could you unmute yourself?
Well, yeah, I was going to just go back to the accgov.com website for the continued updates that are happening from the work that our manager and his staff and the mayor have been doing, so that when something comes up related to a lot of the details that Mike said, that's there. And Andrea, that is a good question. I mean, it's really hard for me in this situation, because if you ask me how many people are unemployed, I'd say almost all of them. So because of my connectivity in the service industry and hospitality activity and that, interaction that we're used to, and knowing that's not there, I don't know those numbers. It's painful without even knowing the numbers. And we're trying to do everything we can to get the word out for where the help is from the faith. And on the website, you'll find the details from the federal level to the state. And then we're trying to use the local funds to help those local partners that are, like Makisha was saying, working daily to help those in need. There were a lot to begin with, and there's more now.
Well, we're coming up to the 2 p.m., which was our absolute deadline. So I'd like to thank everyone for participating and apologize for the hacking. And as Aditya says, that will be cut out of anything that we put on YouTube or on the Facebook page as the recording. Again, I would like to, especially in terms of what Keisha's last question was about, I would urge anyone who would like to volunteer to help with any of the situations that we've talked about. You can do that through the AADM website, aadmmovement.org. And one thing that we are doing is that we are tutoring students as they can't go to school, that have problems with their homework or their school assignments and need help. We need more volunteer tutors for that. So please go to the website, aadmmovement.org, and if you can, please volunteer. One last announcement, there will be another one of these meet and greets on April the 27th from 5:30 to 6:30, and that will focus on those candidates running in the justice arena, judges and district attorneys. Okay, so thank you all again very much. Thank you all those who tuned in, and I wish you to stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all.
Thanks, everyone.